You're watching Como News.
The race for the White House drawing to a close. You're getting a live look right now from Washington, D.C. as Election Day officially kicks into high gear. The 6 key battleground states that could make or break whether President Trump or Joe Biden wins the White House.
And polls are open in most of the country this morning, and we are seeing some long lines. This is a live look from South Carolina to bring you where a line is wrapped around the building. I'll show you what else we're seeing this morning.
And historic turnout. We're taking you live inside the King County election headquarters in Renton, where a record-breaking number of voters have already cast their ballots, but we might not know the winner tonight. Why it could be potentially be days until those results are actually revealed.
All right here at home, get ready. It's about to be a slick morning commute, too. Take a look at that radar. We're taking you live inside our traffic tracker on the right-hand side of your screen, where all of that green on the left-hand side is making its way across the Northwest. Meteorologist Kristen Clark breaking down what we can expect today. All eyes on that 8 p.m. hour, too, when those polls close.
Yes, if you still have to drop off the ballot, get ready for wet and breezy conditions today. While the majority of the country is actually experiencing dry, quiet weather, it is western Washington that's getting by with a good soaking rain today.
And a bit of a distraction on I-5 southbound. This was an accident earlier between Linwood and the Shoreline area. That has now moved off to the side of the road, and you can see traffic is now moving along smoothly. But if you take a look at our traffic map right now, you can see that's still having a residual effect. That backup now about 2 miles long.
Well, it all comes down to this. Election Day is officially underway. Overnight, President Trump and Joe Biden returning home after making their final pitch to voters. The president arriving at the White House, Joe Biden touching down in his home state of Delaware. Let's take you live over Washington, D.C. as well. This unprecedented race for the White House could come to a close tonight if 6 key battleground states play in either President Trump or Joe Biden's favor. This election day coming as early voter turnout reaches historic highs.
Yeah, nearly 100 million early ballots have already been cast nationwide as millions more hit polling centers. We have live team coverage on all angles of this election, including why we might not have a clear winner tonight. Let's go to Como's Lee Stoll live at the King County election headquarters. Lee.
Yeah, good morning. We just had the truck pull up here behind us with the mail ballots, people who are using just the mail system. It actually was only one load that they had here, which is pretty small for an election day. And then from here, it just went all the way around and then up the elevator upstairs to where they are going to be secured and then counted. Now, we're used to seeing big drop-offs of ballots even tomorrow morning after Election Day because of all of the ballots that are mailed in today, as long as they are postmarked by today. But that process is actually something that is new for millions of other Americans this year. Patience as the political process plays out today and possibly for several more days.
Just because you declare victory doesn't mean you won. There's a process for counting the ballots.
Como News political analyst Ron Dautzauer says it's very possible we may not know who will be the next president by the end of the day. The pandemic, record voter turnout, and new vote-by-mail systems are just some of the reasons results may be slower than what we're used to.
Until somebody has banked 270 votes, it would be ill-advised and premature for anybody to declare victory.
Democrat and Republican leaders here in Washington say voters are used to counts continuing after Election Day as ballots postmarked by today's deadline come in.
Everybody needs to get out and vote because today is going to mark the next 4 years of our lives.
Very strange. It's not like the other years. It's very strange feeling.
Now, as a reminder, again, you do have until 8 o'clock tonight to make sure that your ballot is in one of those drop boxes. Or if you are putting it in the mail, be sure you know what time your mailman is coming by today. It's always different times during the day to make sure that your ballot is then in the mail by that point. We're going to head upstairs now. And at 6:30, we're going to be able to give you a look at where those ballots are going when they're going to be counted starting tonight. Back to you.
We'll be watching, Lee. You are looking live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is one of the key battleground states that could help decide this election. Como's Denise Whitaker joins us live with the reason why these states hold so much weight in the race for the White House. Denise?
Absolutely. Pennsylvania
Wisconsin and Michigan are the three key battleground states that are really in the spotlight right now. These states and how voters vote could make or break that 270 electoral vote total a candidate needs to win. President Trump narrowly won all three of those states in 2016. If he cannot hold on to them this time around, he may not reach that electoral threshold. You might be surprised by the numbers here, too. They're not huge. Pennsylvania has 20 electoral votes, Michigan 16, Wisconsin 10. Right now, Biden leads Trump in all three of those states in the polls. Pennsylvania seems to be the most central to both candidates, each of them, plus their spouses, running mates, and their spouses, joining celebrities and others trying to get every last vote.
We win Pennsylvania, we win the whole deal.
Power to change this country is in your hands.
This does not look like a second place finish.
We're going to beat this virus. We're going to get it under control. And the first step to beating this virus is beating Donald Trump.
And, of course, the pandemic definitely weighing on families' minds. Now, looking at the other swing states, there's North Carolina, Florida, and Arizona. The candidates require 270 electoral votes again in order to win, even with so many millions of ballots already cast. People lining up early this morning to vote across the country. Both candidates are still planning one final campaign stop today. President Trump at his campaign office, Joe Biden in his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania.
All right, well, let's take you live to South Carolina this morning. It looks like we just lost our live shot. We did have a live look in Anderson County. The line wrapped around the Performing Arts Center there, but it looks like that live shot just went out. But a big race there in South Carolina is the one pitting longtime incumbent Senator Lindsey Graham against Democratic challenger Jamie Harrison. Harrison's campaign has raised record amounts of money, including a reported $57 million during the third quarter alone. Now, yesterday, both Senator Graham and Jamie Harrison spent the day traveling across the state, campaigning for one final day.
Time is now 6:06, and while all eyes are on the presidential race this morning, there are also major races playing out here at home. The governor's race is leading the statewide ballot. Jay Inslee looking to become the first Washington governor to win a third term since Dan Evans back in 1972. Republican Lauren Culp is hoping to unseat him. Besides the governor's race, state executive seats like Attorney General, Secretary of State, and State Auditor also on the ballot. There's also Referendum 90. That is a highly controversial statewide referendum on teaching sex education to kids starting in kindergarten. King County is also asking for $1.7 billion to expand Harborview Medical Center, and a charter amendment would decide if voters will continue to elect the sheriff. Pierce County is choosing a new sheriff and voting on the county executive.
This a live look right now inside King County Election Service Center. This is where workers will be very busy again this morning processing ballots. Early turnout in King County now hovering at around 76% of registered voters of ballots received. That is just over 1 million ballots. Taking a look at an early ballot return in other Western Washington counties, Pierce County is now just shy of 70%. Snohomish County just over 71%. Thurston County 71%, and Kitsap County 74%, and in Whatcom County nearly 79%.
And Kelly, let's give you a live look from CenturyLink Field this morning. This is one of the spots where a voter center will be open all day today. King County Elections will offer drive-up service for voters as well as help inside the event center with things like registering to vote, address changes, and ballot assistance. There are 5 other voting centers around King County. We will put a link to more details on comonews.com/hotlinks.
This morning, cities across the country and here in the Northwest are gearing up for protests regardless of who wins the election. Businesses in Seattle are already boarding up some of their windows, preparing for any unrest and dueling demonstrations tonight as the results roll out. Mayor Jenny Durkin says the city is preparing for several different scenarios that could play out. The city Seattle police chief says that he is restricting time off for his officers, and city crews are already clearing the streets of items that could be used to cause property property damage.
And at the live desk now, new developments to bring you out of Portland, Oregon. The area is under an emergency declaration ahead of possible political violence. Governor Brown is also preparing the National Guard for possible deployment. This is just some of the damage at Portland State that happened overnight going into Election Day. Our sister station there reporting multiple windows smashed out on university buildings, from dorms to the Starbucks on campus. Police say this started with a march from Director Park and that people busted out windows and poured flammable liquid inside the Starbucks.
KOMO News is your home for Election Day coverage. It all starts this afternoon at 3:30. ABC News will take over at 5:30. Then KOMO will bring you the first state results with live coverage starting at 8 p.m., followed by KOMO News at 11. Okay, let's check in with meteorologist Kristen Clark with a weather quickcast. And Kristen, that's a lot of green on the radar right now.
Yeah, when we see green on the radar, Ryan, that is a sign of rain that is in our area. And sure enough, we have that across the Olympic Peninsula, and that rain just about is entering into Puget Sound at this hour. So if you still have to drop off your voting ballot, plan on wet and breezy conditions today. There's that light rain becoming a bit steadier and heavier through the Hood Canal region, and the light showers, they have begun in downtown Seattle, becoming heavier as well as you travel northbound on I-5 into Mount Vernon, into Bellingham, as well as the San Juan Islands. The wind is beginning to pick up in that particular area as well. So this is the start of what will be a rather wet day for us here, the first of a few as we look forward to the rest of this week. But in looking at the hour-by-hour forecast, the showers arrive as early as like 7 o'clock this morning for Seattle. Maybe light initially, but beginning to pick up in intensity around 9, 10 o'clock. And that's the timing of maybe some steady, moderately heavy rain that could result in maybe some urban street flooding. After all, we have a lot of leaves that could potentially clog the drains, and those low-lying areas that are prone to street flooding may see some of that ponding on the roads here heading into the late morning commute and throughout the afternoon at that, as the shower chance does continue to could turn a little bit lighter in a few spots later on today, but overall wet, cloudy, but mild. Temperatures in the mid-50s. And a quick check on the winds here. They're strengthening out of the south because there's a cold front approaching offshore. Everett, for example, just had a gust up to 27 miles per hour. And at this point, any strong breeze may stay confined to areas of Everett, north, and to say Bellingham. Maybe seeing gusts today up to 30 miles per hour. Today's high temperatures will be in the mid-50s. This is right around average for this time of the year. The chance of rain stays with us. We have a few more fronts left to go this week. So Wednesday and Thursday, the probability chance that any backyard will see rain is up to about 60 to 70%. So the wet weather continues through then before drying out heading into the weekend, but also cooling down as well for Saturday and Sunday.
Time is now 6:11. The COVID crisis reaching a fever pitch. The number of cases the leader of the coronavirus task force warns we can see over the next week. And you're looking live over SeaTac International Airport. The new testing kicking off here in just 24 hours. As long as you have one thing with you, we're going to explain. And we're taking you live to Boston. A historic number of Americans already casting their vote, as nearly those votes nearing the 100 million mark. We're going to have live team coverage on this election day throughout the morning right here on KOMO News.